Folks, there is a major civil war brewing right now in the state of Florida. People are choosing sides and things are getting hot. I'm sure some of you might have seen the video that we posted earlier today. It was an hour-and-a-half press conference from the governor and the first lady and quite a few other people. This is going to have reverberations all across this country going into the midterms in a year or two. It's the governor's race for the state of Florida. This is the end of Ron DeSantis' second term coming up in 2026, and it's going to pit his wife, the first lady, Casey DeSantis, versus a lackey of President Trump that is on the side primarily of Democrats and rhinos. Now, I'm sure that's like, wait a minute, you mean Trump is supporting and endorsing people that are on the side of Democrats and rhinos? Yes, absolutely, that is the case. And they're proudly doing it because they still don't like the idea that there was even a Republican primary in the last election. They don't like Ron DeSantis. They don't like him more than they don't like Kamala Harris. But Mr. Trump is going to learn, especially in the state of Florida, that Ron DeSantis is not Kamala Harris. Ron DeSantis is not Joe Biden. And his preferred candidate, Baboon McDonald's, is going to lose and lose big. Because Casey DeSantis is nobody to be messed with, and she proved that today. She came out swinging in a way that, folks, I tell you what, it was one standing ovation after another. The people of Florida are united behind Governor DeSantis and Casey DeSantis. We know what they did and the risk they took defending us, the people here, in 2020 from Mr. Trump and his forced jab agenda. Mr. Trump never had any forced jab. Really? Stick around for this video. I'm going to show you something that he's been doing behind the scenes that I'm sure you haven't heard of. Real quick poll. Show of hands. Dude on the right. Look like a governor? Looks like a DEI hire to me. But real quick, before we get into this, and this is going to be an intense video, always want to start off with gratitude. Biblical values first. Thank you, everyone who's joined us. Florida Maquis Patreon channel. You have no idea how much I am humbled by the amount of people who have showed up over there and said, Florida Maquis, we want to keep you on YouTube. Florida Maquis, we want to keep you going. We're going to step in, stand in the breach, and we are going to make it happen. Thank you. We got 4 levels of the Patreon channel, 2, 5, 10, and 15. Whatever you can have on your heart, whatever God puts on your heart, whatever you can afford, thank you so much. God bless all of you guys. Fully refundable, by the way. Fully refundable, first 90 days. No questions asked. Hundreds of videos never before seen anywhere else. God bless all of you guys. Thank you so much. Let's get right into it. Let's jump right into it. Now, I've gone down the rabbit hole on both sides of the argument about what's going on and why there are folks opposing Casey DeSantis and Ron DeSantis. It has to do with her Hope Florida Foundation and how wildly successful it has been. And people are angry about this because McDonald's can't buy, whatever, McDonald's guy from Southwest Florida, he can't compete with this. You see, the Hope Florida Foundation got a $10 million ACHA settlement. This was ordered by a judge. Nothing illegal happened here. Nothing was stolen here. These weren't taxpayer funds. This was money that was part of a settlement. There was an overpayment to Centene. And the money came back, $67 million for the people of the state of Florida. $10 million of that went to Hope Florida. Now, what does Hope Florida do? Hope Florida helps coordinate getting non-governmental organizations in contact with people who might need government services. Meaning they're taking people off of the government rolls, saving taxpayer money, and getting people hooked up with the help they need from organizations that are just doing it out of the kindness of their heart and charity. Now, remember the Bible verse? There's faith, hope, and love. The greatest of these is love. That word love is actually translated as charity in the Bible. It's the greatest of the three. And that's what is going on. Now, this is why they don't like it. Because it takes the power away from government. And it puts it back in the hands of the people. And the people that are really upset about this are all tied to another group of people, because what they're saying is this. What they're saying is this, is that the $10 million went to the Hope Florida Foundation. And then later on, that foundation contributed to stopping legalized weed in the state of Florida. See, this is what they're saying. Donors gave big to Desantis' marijuana campaign after getting $10 million from Hope Florida. This is what they're saying was illegal, that the $10 million settlement that came from Centene was overpayment for Medicaid, and so they got the money back, but that should have gone into the general fund. But because $10 million didn't go into the fund, it went to the foundation. That gave the foundation the ability to combat the big weed agenda in Florida, and they see that as a political donation. Now, Governor DeSantis was a JAG officer in the Navy. He's a trained lawyer. You don't think he talked to anybody about this? You don't think he consulted with legal counsel on whether this was going to be okay to go forward? Do you think he would put his wife in legal jeopardy as a JAG officer if this was something that he could be prosecuted? Of course not. Doesn't make much sense, does it? But they're trying to make something out of nothing. And you know what this is about? This is about Nikki Fried. How many of you remember this blast from the past? See, she lost her seat as the Secretary of Agriculture on the Governing Council, and she was a big pusher of weed on kids. And so this is payback, is what this is. This is payback. This is the Nikki Fried big weed agenda that wants to tell your third and fourth grader that it's okay to smoke it up. That's what this is. That's what's going on here. That's why they're trying to nitpick on this settlement. The settlement, the $10 million went into Hope Florida. Hope Florida has saved taxpayers in the state of Florida $100 million. Tens of thousands of people have been taken off of welfare rolls, off of SNAP, off of TANF, all of these different programs that cost us money. And they've been hooked up with people who offer jobs and 20,000 different churches in the state of Florida have participated. It is a huge, huge success story. And Byron McDonald's doesn't have any answer for this other than to go run to Trumpty Dumpty for his endorsement. But this is why it's going to backfire. Let's go down the list real quick. Where are the Epstein files? Oh, that's right. That's right. We can't see the Epstein files. First, everybody wanted to blame Bondi. And then Kash Patel was going to show up and clean up house. He hasn't done anything. Dan Bongino, still done nothing. None of these people that Trump has appointed has done anything, because you know why? It's real simple. Real simple. Look it up. Look it up for yourself. Pam Bondi said, look, there are things in the Epstein files that we can't release because of national security issues. Tell me who possibly could be in the Epstein files that would present some type of a risk to national security. But let's continue. Florida Marquis. Donald Trump is doing all this good and he's saving all this money. Elon Musk lowers DOGE's projected savings from $2 trillion to $1 trillion to $150 billion. And even of that $150 billion, the vast majority of that is simple allegation, theoretical, and not real. And that's being covered. Let me give you an idea. I know people are like, oh, not this again. Real quick, I'm going to do this in a little bit different way. The last way that I put this analogy out came out a little bit clumsy. Let's say that I felt bad for the Patriot nurse, and I thought, gosh, she's been censored so much and suppressed, and she can't be making as much off of her YouTube channel as she used to make. I'm going to say, you know what, Patriot nurse, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a car payment for you. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the ability to pick out whatever car you want, but the payment can be no more than $1,000. No more than $1,000 a month. That's it. Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people out there, a lot of ladies like, well, hell yeah, I could find a car for $1,000 a month. So let's say she goes and picks out a car. And she's like, okay, I've got this one, and this other one, and they're all kind of right around that payment. Then I come back after she's done that and said, yeah, I got to amend that $1,000 a month a little bit. I can afford, actually now, I did all the math really, and it's like $75 a month I can afford instead of $1,000 a month. And of that $75 a month, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you about 45 in cash, and then I'm going to go clip 30 bucks or so in coupons, and then give you the coupons, and that'll be the equivalent of what I promised, kind of, $75-ish. That's what's going on. That's the bait and switch from we're going to save $2 trillion to we might save $150 billion. You see, had they come out and honestly said we might be able to cut $150 billion during the election cycle, had they said that, they would have been roundly laughed at and said, that's nothing. They would have been roundly laughed at and said, if that's all DOGE is aiming for is $150 billion, then there's nothing you can do. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing as if I had made a promise to do something, $1,000 a month, and then said maybe $75 a month. You see, I'll give you this link to this Economic Times where they go through and all of these things that they've promised, they've quietly then gone back later and changed. Like one of these, it's absolutely hilarious. You're not even going to believe this. They've revised things. In one case, a supposed $8 billion savings was quietly revised down to $8 million after the vendor involved stated the higher figure was a clerical mistake. Similarly, a highlighted $1.9 billion savings attributed to the cancellation of a Treasury contract was later revealed to have occurred under Biden. At least 1,000 contracts were removed from the portal last month without explanation, erasing there were $1,000 in supposed canceled contracts. 1,000 different canceled contracts totaling $4 billion that were going to be canceled that are no longer going to be canceled. You see, it's all a shell game. And besides, April 13, 2025, Trump pledges record $1 trillion defense budget, increasing it from Biden's budget of $860 billion. So whatever they're saving, the $150 billion they say they're saving, they're just going to take that and put it into the defense budget. Because that's the difference. The 12% increase in defense spending is everything that DOGE said that they found in savings. It's a net zero. Oh, but wait, there's more. Trump floats plan for illegal farm and illegal hotel workers to have amnesty and stay in the United States, because that's what that is. When you know somebody's illegal and you let them stay because they're doing something good, that's amnesty, as in Lindsey Grahamnesty amnesty. The president's comments suggested a vague plan that would allow the government to bring back, meaning re-import great, quote unquote, great people who are working hard and who go out in a nice way. But wait, there's more. But the tariffs will make up for, maybe they will, maybe they won't. China calls tariff exemptions on all of their electronics a small step in correcting Trump's misguided policy. Is there more, Florida Maki? Are you done? Nope, not done. President Donald J. Trump, Operation Warp Speed, father of the vaccine. Remember this whole thing? Deadliest vaccine past 30 years, more deadly than the rest of them combined? Remember that? Remember way back in January when I made a video talking about the Stargate AI project that could help create a cancer mRNA vaccine that he was working on with Oracle CEO Larry Ellison? That it might create 100,000 American jobs? Well, guess what? There's even another mRNA jab coming out of the Trump administration. Arcturus Therapeutics receives Trump FDA Fast Track designation for STAR mRNA vaccine candidate for pandemic influenza A virus H5N1. Now, and all of a sudden, Mr. Anti-Vaccine Kennedy is now all of a sudden Mr. Pro-Vaccine. Funny story, though. Florida Monkey, how did you get off on a tangent away from Governor DeSantis? Real simple. How many of you knew, state of Florida, we have a Patient Freedom Bill of Rights that bans mRNA vaccinations, that bans mandated jabs, that bans jabs for kids. We did this. We started this way back in 21 and 22. How many of you knew that? These new mRNA jabs being pushed by Donald Trump are banned in the state of Florida. You see, most of the country now is all sorts of excited about self-jabbing. You see, it's just different, isn't it? See, this is just a jab that comes from Big Pharma that millions and millions of Americans are using right now. And they're self-jabbing once a week, every week for the rest of their life, risking all sorts of things, including tumors and cancer, gallstones, thyroid cancer, thyroid tumors, diabetic retinopathy, hypoglycemia, stomach paralysis, heart palpitations, chest pain, pancreatitis, gallbladder issues, all of these massive side effects from Ozempic, not stopping millions of Americans, a huge portion of them being conservatives. Isn't this interesting? To keep going, Matt Gaetz, big, huge superhero, Matt Gaetz. Remember, he was going to be the Attorney General? Well, now he's going to join Morgan & Morgan, the big weed-pushing leftist law firm in Florida. See, Matt Gaetz is joining Morgan & Morgan and the big weed pushers to oppose Ron DeSantis. Matt Gaetz is joined with Roger Stone and Laura Loomer and all these other people that are just brain-dead morons. There's a war brewing, guys. It's a big one, and you're going to have to choose. You're going to have to choose what side you're on. Personally, the vast majority of Floridians have already chosen what side they're on. And this is what's terrifying Baboon McDonald's and Donald Trump and his lackeys. Go look on X, go look on Twitter, which is kind of the bellwether. The people who are opposing Casey DeSantis are getting ratioed in a way that they could have never seen. You see, because it's about the state of Florida, they can't marshal all of the cult members from all across the country. What's happening in the state of Florida is just going to be in the state of Florida. Unless the leftist Democrats who are now partnering with Donald Trump and his lackeys are going to try to bus in voters. So, anyway, I will leave that there. Not governor material. Not leadership material. Sorry. God bless all of you who've joined us Patreon. Thank you guys so much. Could very much use your support. Pray for each other. Pray for the state of Florida. Lift each other up. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.